Okay, good people. Welcome to another conversation of my unofficial expert opinion. Now, with that being said, I waited a couple of days to see if I can get any more facts to come out. Yeah, so my opinion is not the same as it was when the Udoka scandal first hit. I'm a pivot to where my conversation was gonna go initially, so there's no need to even bring it up. But I want to say this: Udoka is a black coach in Boston, and Boston in itself found out about this affair that he was having with another Boston. Why am I babbling right now? He was having an affair with another Boston Celtics employee. So this is not a sexual harassment conversation. It is not no unwanted attention conversation. He was having a consensual relationship with a female employee. So the reason why I'm pivoting, because I believe I found out that the female employee is a travel agent for the Boston Celtics. And as a travel agent, she handled all the travel arrangements for the Boston Celtics staff and players. This is the new evidence for me, including Nia Long. So, Udoka was having an affair with a female from the Boston Celtics travel agency department. I'm going to just say that. Still an employee of the Boston Celtics. And the Celtics found out in July and kept it under wraps and tried to handle it. I'm not going to even say tried to handle it, but supposedly was handling it internally. But then, this is September. It's just coming out. Nia Long is just finding out in September. Boston Celtics found out in June, July. Forgive me right now. I don't want to go back and look at when specifically, because it's just an opinion. And it really doesn't matter when the Boston Celtics found out. What is sloppy is them leaking it to the media to trash Udoka. Now, let me tell you what the black community is saying. Bruh, what kind of idiot are you to cheat on Nia Long? I've seen that. Jesus Christ, Nia Long is a queen. We love Nia Long. We love Nia Long as an actress and as a sister in itself. And as a woman, no shade on Nia Long. But Nia Long is just a female. So anybody who would not understand how could he truly is out of touch with the nature of man. Now, that's another conversation, so let me skip that. What I am going to say is, it's crazy how the Celtics put him out there, but won't put the female by name out there. Because it's consensual, right? So what are we hiding her identity for? Narrative driven. And most people are going to roll right into it. This black man done made a mistake by his damn self. And now he's going to be crucified by public opinion because the Boston Celtics decided to throw him under the bus. It ain't good enough that you suspended him for a year. You didn't fire him. You suspended him. Did you suspend the female? Nah, we not hearing that. So we can't even say if they did or didn't. But we not hearing nothing about the female. And so here's where the controlled conversation goes. I am certainly shocked, and I did not know Malika Andrews was a feminist. I thought she was a sports journalist that can cover sports just on the sports. And it doesn't seem like she has that ability. She seriously wants to go on and press the issue as if this is only a one-way fault. And then she had the nerve to try to shut Kendrick Perkins down when he was trying to say how it was going down. And she tried to insinuate Stephen A was okay with it when that's not what Stephen A said. So I'm going to play what Stephen A said, and then first I'm going to play what Kendrick Perkins said. And she tried to make it seem like Brad Stevens was so upset. So when you see Brad Stevens give his comment, you can easily go, this ain't no so upset. He's being diplomatic of a situation that he didn't want to get into. But you leave it up to Malika Andrews to try to make it seem like this white man was so distraught. Mind you, they knew since June. So all the so distraughtness is crazy. And I'm gonna just let y'all see for yourself.
Well, one thing, Zach, that you touched on was just this gross focus on identifying unnecessarily women's names that may or may not be involved. And I think it is it isn't too harsh to say that that was a failure by many people, including folks within our own industry. And Brad Stevens actually addressed that today. I want everyone to take a listen.
We have a lot of talented women in our organization, and I thought yesterday was really hard on them, and I think that nobody can control Twitter speculation and rampant, but I do think that we as an organization have a responsibility to make sure we're there to support them now, because a lot of people were dragged unfairly into that.
I want to bring in our NBA analyst, Kendrick Perkins, into this conversation because, Perk, you played for the Celtics organization. What were your thoughts on this message here?
Well, one, to me, I didn't like Brad comments on this, and let me explain why. Not the fact that he was taking up and protecting the women in the organization, but he said about the speculations and the Twitter BS and things to that nature, and how unfair it was to the women in the organization that is not involved with this particular situation. And I get that, right? But why is it speculations? It's speculations because of the reports that were put out by the actual Boston Celtics. So they didn't do a great job from the jump of actually protecting the women in their organization, because knowing that they were going to sit up here and give out this information and go out here and suspend Ime Udoka and talk about, just give a little details, is going to have people speculating. And in my eyes, I feel like the Boston Celtics dropped the ball not only in protecting their entire franchise, but in protecting the women as well. They should have made sure that they crossed their T's and dotted their I's before they put this information out. And I get it. Now we're to this point, and now he had to go on here and he had to say this and he had to say that to protect those innocent women. But at the end of the day, man, it just ain't right how they went about it. The word accountability, okay? Accountability doesn't just go to Ime Udoka, okay? Accountability goes to the other people that played a part in that as well. Let me tell you another thing I didn't like about my good friend Wick Grossbeck and Brad Stevens in this press conference when they asked, is anybody else going to be punished? And they said no. And my whole thing is this, right? these are some of the facts that have been out. These are some facts that I know that, you know, this relationship, one of these relationships that was had with Ime Udoka and one of these women, it was consensual, meaning that this woman actually played a part in it too. So my thing is, yes, Ime Udoka was wrong. We get that. His punishment, he deserved that, and whatever else follows, I hate it for him, but he put himself in this position. But why are the other people getting left off the hook?
Well,
that's the
Kendrick,
problem that I have right now. Everybody got to be held accountable.
I think that we need to circle back to what Shanae said, is that there was an investigation that was conducted by an independent law firm here, and I think that transparency is what will rule the day here. And so without having all of the information, it is unfair and irresponsible of us to go and to speculate on that, because what we have to...
Well, I'm not speculating.
Sure.
I have the information. I'm not speculating.
But what we have to go with here is the fact that an independent law firm came in, did this investigation, and the facts that they were presented, they came to the conclusion that Ime Udoka violated a policy that warranted a 1-year suspension. And I share your frustration with the lack of transparency, while understanding that there is some things that they need to, from a legal perspective, keep private. But knowing all of that, understanding all of that, we have to come to the conclusion that whatever rule, the conduct that was broken on one side, it is not the same on the other side. I thank you for your perspective.
So there she go. She just shut him down without any rebuttal, and just as what he said did not hold any truth or water. But what Kendrick Perkins said was actually factually correct. Two people in a consenting relationship, if it is a violation against the company policy, two people broke it, not just one. So here it is again, and I thought she was a beauty too. Well, I guess beauty don't stop you from being a feminist. Let the black woman tear the black man down, because didn't Carrie Champion try that with Floyd Mayweather back on First Take? Then she got replaced going at Stephen A. So if Malika Andrews isn't here in a little while, we're going to understand why. This is now turning out to not just be about Ime Udoka and the female. This is now, the argument is, use the black woman to tear the black man down by way of media. So this is Malika Andrews versus Stephen A. and Kendrick Perkins, I'm assuming. I'm not sure of how many of you people understand this or understand my point and perspective of it, because I'm sure no one's going to be championing the side of the guy who cheated on his wife. And his wife being Nia Long, and that's supposed to make the bigger difference. But nevertheless, let's see what Stephen A. was saying.
Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do not have all of the information here. And it was frustrating to me that the Celtics declined to elaborate or to give more specifics about what exactly the rule breaking was that led us to this point. So that, I just want to get that out of the way first. But to answer your question, Molly, I think what stood out to me, I think what stood out to me is that Brad Stevens, he was upset. That's what stood out to me about what he termed rampant Twitter BS is the word that he used, that women were unfairly dragged into this within the Celtics organization. You could see that Brad Stevens was visibly upset about this. And I also found that to be gross and unnecessary, that folks were bringing in the names and the images of women that is just not a fact, that was purely speculation. And so to me, that is what stood out. But the Celtics as an organization could have done more, and short of doing more ahead of this yesterday, they could have owned that responsibility in this press conference. I understand that there were legal parameters that they had to operate within for everybody involved, and I appreciate the fact that they brought in outside counsel and did a thorough organization. And I think that that is something that was clearly necessary in this situation. But the fact that it was able to go on all day, the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
First of all, let me be very clear. I don't appreciate where you're going with that. I'm not blaming anybody but Ime Udoka. He deserves, the fact of the matter is, I've said he deserved to be fired if they were going to fire him. If you're not going to fire him, then don't fire him. My issue is all of this being publicized. The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning. Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I've already said he deserves to be fired, or he deserves to be there and handle it internally and privately. If you're not going to handle it privately, if you're going to publicize it in that fashion, then obviously it provokes everybody wanting to know, okay, well, who are the parties involved? When you have Amina Smith in Boston and other women pointing out the fact that there were women who were wrongly implicated in all of this, it's a disservice to them. I didn't come out with the report about a consensual relationship. I didn't come out with the report ahead of time leaking that they were going to suspend him for the year. They did that. And my point is, considering how pervasive this kind of stuff has existed in professional sports for many years, my whole point is that, make sure that you handle it in the same fashion it has always been handled. You could have fired him, and then we could have speculated till the cows come home, but he's gone. But to keep him there, keep him employed, but in the same breath, suspend him for a year, then also that year is indefinite. That is the issue that I have. Nobody's trying to protect Ime Udoka, and certainly nobody is trying to protect, is to excoriate the women involved or anything like that. I'm talking about how things of this matter are usually handled from an HR perspective, from an organizational perspective. That is not consistent with what we have seen throughout the years. That is the only point that I was trying to make. I'm not trying to attack anybody. And if anybody deserves to be attacked, it's Ime Udoka for putting himself in this position. I've made that very clear. I'm just talking about you got owners and everybody else. They know the kind of stuff that's going on. You didn't say anything about anybody else. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them. They didn't say anything about everybody else all the other times this stuff has happened. But now when it comes to him, it's all over the place. That is my issue. That is my only issue.
I appreciate that clarification. And I think that getting back to Molly's initial question, that is what stood out to me from the press conference. My reaction to the press conference, and I appreciate you clarifying that, Stephen A., is that the only thing that was made clear to me in this is that we are missing a key piece of information here. That is my reaction to the press conference.
She got her ass handed to her by Stephen A., and she got put in her place. And I assume this is going to now go on because she tried it, as the females say. You tried it. And because she tried it, she got dealt with. This isn't about male versus female. She's making it about that, trying to make it seem like Stephen A. is taking up for a guy who simply cheated on his wife. Did he do anything wrong to the employee other than fuck her? Did he slap her? Did he misuse her? No, he violated a code of conduct for a job. So what the fuck are we doing even talking about this shit? Like this is some big, big news. It's big, big news because Ime Udoka is suspended for a year when the Celtics is trying to rise up. So for a Celtic fan, this is effed up. For Nia Long, this is effed up. For Malika Andrews, mind your fucking business. This ain't even all that deep. This ain't about no protecting no female and no woman. This is not about that. It's not about that. This is about the Boston Celtics throwing one of their head coaches or their coach under the bus for something that they could have simply just disciplined him. Like Stephen A. said, if you were going to fire him, fire him. And we would have just wondered why he was fired. Because I'm quite sure you're not playing marriage counselor. You're not going, oh, I'm upset that you cheated on Nia Long. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. And Boston don't got the reputation that goes for protecting their black citizens. So cut it the F out. And trying to kiss Brad Stevens' ass by going, Brad was visibly upset. Come on, Malika. Come on. Thought you was better than that. Nah, my bad. I thought you was pretty. That's my fault for thinking or even suggesting that you could have been. So, y'all let me know what y'all think. Don't forget the comments below. Please share the video. Let's conversate about it. Give me your thoughts on this and in more and on other videos. So until the next time we chat, good people. Peace out.